A threat-forward detachment has slipped across the FIBA and seized a piece of key terrain. The division commander has ordered the depth brigade to dislodge the enemy incursion prior to the arrival of first echelon elements. Reconnaissance has reported the enemy digging in, along with signs of mining and other obstacle development activity on the main approach to the position. Mindful of the requirement to maintain the momentum of the attack, the leading tank squadron has attached its 2 mine rollers. These, along with its 4 permanently mounted mine plows, configure it for an encounter with mines and other obstacles. The initial squadron deployment places its mine rollers well forward as part of the lead elements. The lead commander expects to find conventional and scatterable mines at bridge sites, around roadblocks, at intersections, on the shoulders of sharp curves and narrow tracks, in old ruts, and beside blown culverts and craters. Hasty minefields of approximately 150 mines can be laid by a threat mobile obstacle detachment in approximately 20 minutes, with a 3-row configuration covering a frontage of about 300 meters. These unmarked, hastily emplaced conventional or scatterable minefields will most likely be covered by fire, and the first indication of their presence may be the destruction of a vehicle. Immediate suppressive fire would be returned on the enemy position. Smoke would be used to cover the stricken vehicle, to assist with the evacuation of crew casualties, and to help conceal the forward movement plow and roller teams. Reconnaissance elements will attempt to find routes through these minefields, or, if there is no alternative, will define its edge and begin to recce a possible breaching site. A hasty breach will then be attempted, which uses the on-hand assets of the battle group and is accomplished without a loss of momentum directly from the line of march. Should it extend beyond a 30-minute time frame, increasingly severe opposition will be met, including the possibility of the minefield being thickened by artillery-delivered scatterable mines. The battle group would be divided into a support force, a breaching force, and an assault force. A support force to suppress the defenders with direct and indirect fire, and to obscure the breaching activity. A breaching force to conduct the breach, mark the lanes, and secure the far side. And an assault force to continue the attack against the objective. The breaching force will have its organic tank-mounted mine plows and rollers for clearing and proofing of lanes, as well as mine detectors and probes. In addition, lane clearing charges may also have been allotted to the force from Division Engineer Resources. Breaching operations would involve the support force engaging targets and laying down smoke, while the breaching force maneuvers into position. At least 2 lanes would be attempted through the minefield, each handled by a breaching team. The teams would lead with the plow and proof the lanes with the roller. The lanes are marked by the rear elements of the breaching force once the success of the breach is assured. Once across, the breach force regroups and provides fire support for the oncoming assault force. Mine clearing equipment is most effective when used with roller plow teams. The roller will lead when there is a known or suspected minefield threat. Upon detection of a minefield, the roller tank will fire its smoke dischargers and move to cover. The plow then proceeds to clear a lane by passing the roller, continuing to at least 100 meters plus of where the last mine was detonated. And the roller then moves forward to proof the lane. As a last resort, expedient methods of breaching may also be employed, such as aiming unmanned vehicles at the objective, or using tank dozers to clear surface landmines. Bulling through, where additional casualties must be accepted. Hand breaching, although slow and dangerous, may be the only alternative. Hasty breaching operations are conducted as a normal activity of the combat team. Mine rollers and plows offer tanks the capability of maintaining the momentum of the advance, and engineer reconnaissance and support elements are deployed well forward, where they can report and act with a minimum of delay. Wherever possible, these minefields must be breached in a matter of minutes so as to minimize casualties and prevent an enemy from reinforcing the objective area.
In anticipation of a requirement to breach an enemy minefield, the battle group has been assigned explosive lane-clearing munitions to back up its roller and plow-equipped tanks. This munition has been provided through normal replenishment activities and is easily handled by resupply vehicles. It has undergone its basic preparations for firing in the division administrative area. Contact has been made with the enemy, and the leading elements have encountered a minefield. The battle group commander will breach 2 lanes across the minefield using his assigned explosive lane-clearing charges, and briefs the supporting engineer troop commander on the requirement. The troop commander, in turn, issues a warning order for the operation, which details the engineer elements that will fire the munition and a forward RV location for the handover and final preparation of the charges.
Lay out our weapons and webbing over here.
RV activities include the hookup of the trailer to the towing unit, checks for continuity, and the final arming of the firing mechanism. The process takes approximately 1 hour, and any vehicle with a 24-volt electrical system and the capability to adapt the quick-release tow hitch can be used to fire the munition. The 2 firing teams, with their prepared equipment, remain at the RV awaiting final orders. In the meantime, the engineer recce sergeant goes forward to locate sites from where the lane-clearing charges are to be fired. Approaches and the firing sites should be chosen to give the towing vehicle and munitions trailer a degree of concealment and allow them to be properly lined up with the desired direction of the lane. The firing site should be on relatively level ground with no low obstructions which will interfere with the launch, and be about 150 meters from the near edge of the minefield. The recce party also determines the firing data calculations, which are mainly based on wind speed and direction, and the temperature of the rocket motor propellant. The firing data determines the angle of elevation for the launcher and the approximate line of projection of the charge to produce a lane in the desired direction. Back at the RV, final orders are received. The firing data is applied to the launchers, and vehicles and their trailers depart the RV. Under covering fire of the support force, the firing units move forward, pick up a guide, and are taken to their predetermined firing positions. The remainder of the breaching force and the assault force waits in readiness. Once in location, the final interconnects and continuity checks are completed, and the system is operational.
Rocket continuity good. Trailer release continuity good. Elevation release continuity good. Fire now!
The Viper is normally fired as soon as it is in position to ensure a maximum of surprise and to reduce the chance of its engagement by enemy weapons. The lane created by the explosion clears approximately 90% of all mines with fuses that are susceptible to blast. When possible, the lane will be proofed by roller-equipped tanks prior to passage of the assault force through the minefield. Most of the undetonated mines are contained within the lane skip zone, which runs parallel to the trench produced by the charge. The safest passage for vehicles may be found by placing one track in the hose trench. The lanes and their approaches should be marked in the conventional manner, although the trench produced by the charge will initially provide sufficient guidance for the balance of the breaching force to complete its task. Although lane clearing charges can be quickly fired, some time is required for preparation of the munition, from its handover at the DP to its departure from the RV. This time factor, along with the strength and direction of the wind, must be considered when planning the employment of lane-clearing munitions. This production has depicted a simplified scenario, which can be conducted in conjunction with deliberate minefield breaching operations.
Airborne thermal imaging sensors have indicated the presence of vehicle tracks and recently disturbed earth across the brigade's axis of advance. Later, reconnaissance has confirmed the presence of a minefield, determined that it could not be bypassed, and located a potential breaching site. A patrol and a minefield reconnaissance party consisting of a commander and 2 men has been dispatched. They will locate routes to the minefield, enemy positions covering it, and provide details on any other obstacles involved in the barrier. On arrival at the suspected edge of the minefield, the commander fixes his position on the ground and establishes the bearing he will take through the minefield. Equipped with plotters, pins, fish line, markers, cutters, and a detector, they will be able to determine the forward edge, any lanes through, and details on the makeup of the minefield. The recce proceeds with the number 1, securing the marking line and moving forward, searching a path of little more than a half a meter in width, neutralizing anti-personnel and marking any anti-tank mines that are located. The commander follows behind, keeping direction and securing the line. He examines all reported mines and records their position by tying loops in the fish line. The number 2 follows 5 meters behind, using a detector to find any deeply buried metallic mines or others which the number 1 may have missed. When no more mines are encountered, it is assumed the forward edge of the minefield has been reached, and the party retraces its steps, picking up the markers and reeling in the fish line. On return to the starting point, all stores are checked to ensure nothing has been left behind which might reveal to the enemy that a reconnaissance has taken place.
Hey, Sarge, we got one.
Good. What kind?
CP.
On completing the recce, the fish line is laid out, which provides information on the limits, makeup, and density of the minefield. If sufficient strips of the minefield have been recce'd, its general parameters can be determined. It has been decided to immediately conduct a hasty, silent breaching operation and develop 2 lanes across the minefield, each approximately 8 meters wide and 120 meters in depth. Breaching groups comprising an engineer field troop have been assigned to one of the lanes, and an infantry team comprising assault pioneers and other infantry personnel has been tasked to the other lane.
Task. Provide engineer charge.
The planning time for the hand clearance of a vehicle lane is 4 hours by day and from 5 to 6 hours at night,
Command
working
lane
under
1.
favorable conditions.
Guide giant viper.
The breaching of a 1-meter foot lane at night by a section-sized team would take approximately 1 hour.
No change.
The breaching groups are organized into a setting out party, 4 breaching parties, a pulling party, reserve personnel, and a stores detachment. The lane commander is responsible for the coordination of the breaching operation. He lays out the pattern of the breaching activity, starts the various parties working, maintains safety distances, allots work-related tasks, details duties in later phases of the activity, and reports on progress. The setting out party lays out the basic lane clearance pattern for the minefield. They lay a base tape which provides the start point for the first breaching party, the right-hand guide tape denoting the edge of the lane, cross tapes to provide the start lines for additional breaching parties, and a finishing tape to mark the far edge of the minefield. Throughout, they neutralize and lift any anti-personnel mines encountered within a 1-meter wide lane centered on the tapes, and mark any anti-tank mines that are encountered. Each of the breaching parties are spaced at least 50 meters apart and work down a 2-meter wide strip. They detect, neutralize, and lift anti-personnel mines and place them to the outside right-hand tape. They also detect, uncover, and mark anti-tank mines, which are left for the pulling party. On completion of the clearance task on the 2-meter strip, the party returns and starts another parallel strip until the 8-meter wide lane is completed. The pulling party works behind the breaching parties, neutralizing and lifting mines and moving them clear of the lane. They then check to ensure there are no mines buried beneath the holes. In instances where noise or damage created by the detonating of a mine is not a problem, the pulling party can use cables to extract the mine from the ground. Throughout the duration of the operation, concurrent action takes place with the setting out party completing its task, the breaching and pulling parties continuing with detection and removal of mines, and the stores detachment providing any required equipment or material. The minefield lane would be marked by the setting out party so that it can easily be seen by the oncoming assault group. Later, it would be permanently marked by follow-up elements. Should the breaching activity be discovered or significantly delayed, it may be necessary to employ Bangalore torpedoes or other explosive devices to quickly complete the opening of a vehicle lane or footpath through the minefield. Hasty, silent minefield breaching activities would normally be conducted at night or under conditions of limited visibility. They take time to complete and are continually subject to discovery by the enemy through his ongoing surveillance or through accidental detonation of a mine.